Hey
Cool.
everybody, I'm here with the surf band trio Koko from the Netherlands, and I was really excited because they have this awesome song called Tea and Go that is it blew my mind. It blew my mind. I was so excited. I listened to their other stuff, but this song is incredible, and I suggest you go check it out on their Bandcamp page. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Great to be here.
So tell me a little bit about the band. I read a little bit about you've been doing this 20 years and then went off to do some side projects. I saw there were some releases from the 90s.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. We started the band, I think it was around 97. We did some shows and decided to record some stuff. And we recorded a few albums, also different styles. We started out playing songs that Ron had written. So, yeah, basically there was singer-songwriter stuff. But he also had some instrumental songs, and those seemed to be appreciated very much by the people we were playing for. So yeah, we tried something else, and we dove into the surf stuff, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. It's more. We used to call it a surf cocktail because in those days there were a lot of surf bands here in Holland, and we wanted to do something else, so we did cocktail kind of things in between it, and you can hear it on the album actually.
Yeah, one of the things that stuck out is you use the lap steel in some of your songs, kind of combined with a spaghetti western.
Yeah,
and that's a pretty rad sound. How did you come up with that?
Well, as far as the lap steel concerned, I really love lap steel, and I like exotica and Hawaiian stuff. And well, the song, I think it's on, I don't know on which song it is actually, but it it did fit. And I'm not a trained lap steel player, but I just practiced for the song, and it worked out fine. And if you hear it on the if you hear it on the album, and if you didn't know better, you'd think, "Oh, that guy can really play a lap steel." But I just did the things that are on it, and that's yeah. I really love the sound of lap steel guitar. Yeah.
What is the inspiration for the Western sound? Is it the spaghetti Western specifically, or did that kind of just happen on its own?
Yeah, the spaghetti westerns are definitely an influence, but what I like about the spaghetti western guitar is the sound, you know, the old-fashioned. You don't hear it a lot. It's not only in spaghetti westerns; it's also in the instrumental guitar groups that we had. Here in Holland, they called it Indo rock. I don't know if you heard of it.
No.
Well, was in America you have the Ventures and the whole surf scene with Dick Dale and Link Ray, and here in Holland we had a band called the Tielman Brothers. That's an Eurasian band. Guys like me. I'm from Indonesia, and I'm mixed with Dutch colonial blood. And those Eurasian guys, they were the first rock and roll bands here in Holland in the 50s. And they, I think they were very much inspired by AFN Radio, which was a military radio station here in Germany, and you could listen to that, and that was on my part, I grew up with that kind of music, and only later, because I love films and I love spaghetti westerns, when I heard these sounds in these spaghetti western movies, I thought, yeah, that's pretty much the sound of the early rock and roll Indo rock bands here in Holland. So that's my part in the Koko. Ton has another. He has another background, but all these exotica and Hawaiian and Eurasian guitars, that's something that's I do.
Yeah, it's also because we like we like music that's used in films as well, or movies. And there's a lot of cocktail music, and basically that's my whole problem. I like too much different styles, and in Koko we just put it in a blender and something comes out, and we'll see. Yeah, you never know what happens, but turned out pretty good, I think.
Well, you could mention apart from the spaghetti westerns, we also love the Cinecittà Italian movies of the 60s, and which were basically, and I don't know if it's true what I'm saying, but mostly it's kind of B film, B movies, B films, and soundtracks of soft porno films. German, yeah, German films are also great. Yeah. We really love that kind of atmosphere in instrumental music. Yeah, that was a great inspiration for us. Yeah.
Awesome. Tom, would you like to expand on that?
No, I think Ron is correct. Ron is a little older than I am.
A bit older.
Yeah, so we also have different different backgrounds, obviously, but I also listened to a lot of reggae music when I grew up, but also the disco, and that's like I said, I just like a lot of different styles, and that's also why you read about we being formed as a band 20 years ago, and then we didn't do very much because we had so much different projects we started working on. We had a soul band, we had a Afrobeat band, electronic music. Yeah, we just love it all. And basically it comes down to, well, we make music and then we look into what comes out of it, and then we decide which project it suits best. That's basically how we work.
Yeah, and Trio Koko is actually one of the projects of a music collective, which is especially Ton, of course, and our drummer, Timothy, who isn't joining on the Zoom meeting, but that is the Trio Koko project. And with Trio Koko, we did, we mostly did the surf cocktail stuff. Yeah. And we kicked out the singer-songwriter things, and the singer-songwriter things I'm doing on my own.
Okay.
But Trio Koko is much more fun. Yeah.
Ton, I would never expect to get to use this question, but since you said you were into reggae, I was wondering your thoughts on the classic John Lydon African Bombada record.
I have to be honest. I don't know that record that much. We're from Holland.
I do.
Oh, okay. So Ron, I'll pass this question to you.
I'm not a reggae guy, but I know it.
No, but in my youth, I was very much influenced by a reggae band from Holland, which is called Doe Maar. And they knew exactly where all the influences came from. And later on, I dove into Sly and Robbie, and of course Bob Marley, all the big names. Also the Studio One things I love very much. I used a lot of organ on the Trio Koko record. And what's his name again? You have the Studio One keyboard player. I forgot his name, but I love it. No, it's not Lee Perry.
Lee Perry.
I'll come to it in a minute. You want
He's
to talk
getting
about
old. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
do,
yeah. Sorry.
do you like the early 60s reggae and ska?
Yeah. That's
The
I
Trojan
also-
stuff?
yeah. I like all the old stuff.
Yeah.
Not so much the modern stuff.
Yeah.
And I think you can also hear that in the things we produce, because it's gravitates to the 60s, 70s, well, maybe even earlier. Just love that stuff.
Yeah.
The sound, the basic things, not too complicated, good melody, and also a groove is very important to me.
Now you're mentioning the reggae part of Trio Koko. We don't do reggae, of course, but it's worth mentioning that the drummer Timothy and Tom, they're very famous here in our hometown. And they always stick together. They're like a Siamese twin, and they're the Sly and Robbie of Dordrecht, our hometown. And in the early days, I was looking for a bass player, because I had my own band, and the bass player quit the band. And then I met Tom, and I asked, "Hey, I have a band and I'm ready to play. Do you want to play with me?" And then Tom said, "Well, can I bring my drummer with me?" But I had a drummer in my band, so that was that was a hard thing to do. But then my drummer, a couple of weeks later, also quit the band. So that's how I met Ton and Tim, and that was my how do you call it? My rescuers. Yeah. And ever since I play with these guys, in all kinds of projects, and I'm so grateful, because without them, these albums of Trio Koko wouldn't exist, because they're great producers. I'm only the guitar player. I just plug in and I play, and I write some songs. But yes, Ton and Tim, you're.
Thank you. Well, you're welcome.
That is for you.
By the way, it was Jackie Me Too. I was.
Oh, Jackie Me Too. Yeah, he's great.
Keyboard player, studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want you, Ron, to comment on the African Bambata before we miss out on your story.
Sorry.
John Lydon and Africa Bambata.
Yeah.
You said you knew the album, and I just wanted your comments on it.
Well, it's a long time ago, and it was a very special album, of course. But it's not. But we don't do anything. It didn't really influence the things we do. At least for Trio Koko, no, because for Trio Koko we stick to surf, cocktail, exotica, library music, all that kind of things. But I understand you're a great fan of Africa Bambata and that specific album. But or maybe you hear influences of it on the album.
Well, I was just maybe it's the reggae reference that you guys made that made me think somewhere down the line you may have drew inspiration from that.
Yeah. Well,
certain
not
songs.
really.
Yeah, on
Maybe
certain
for
songs
Tom.
there. Yeah, I was now on certain songs. Maybe you can hear it a little bit, but it's basically in my bass playing. I'm the well, play the bass on the records and some guitars as well and other stuff. But
He does a lot of things on the record.
yeah, but it's like I said, I like the basic stuff, and I like the bass to be well groovy and yeah, not too complicated, and that's what I like about the reggae stuff as well.
Yeah. You have what I think is a baritone on your record. Is that correct?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, we love baritone.
Is that is one of my favorite sounds, and especially when it's used in something like the Frank Black from the Pixies used that in one of his songs.
Yeah.
And he's a big surf fan. I don't know if you know. But then when I heard you guys do it, I'm like, man, that is so clean sounding. And like kudos to your production work, because it sounds like, you know, you being a trio, it sounds like a giant band. It's really, really full sound. And that baritone just like kicks your ass.
Yeah, we really love baritone. Yeah. Oh, now you mention the Pixies. There's a song on the album called "Move It, Kim."
Kim Deal.
Yeah, because the "Move It" is from an early Shadows Cliff Richard tune, which was the first record my sister had, and the riff you hear on "Move It, Kim," that's from Kim Deal, because I was a great Pixies fan and Breeders. Actually, it was a Breeders tune.
Were you also into the Amps?
Sorry?
The Amps. She was in a band called the Amps as well.
Yeah. Is that
They-
with her sister?
Yeah. They came to Philly and they were under the name Tammy and the Amps.
Okay.
And they played at a really small club. It was before the record came out. And I was gonna go because I regularly went to the club, and I missed it. And wouldn't you know, when they reviewed the album in the paper reviewed the show in the paper the next day,
Yeah.
there was Kim Deal's name.
Hey, was it after the Breeders?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
because
like,
her sister first joined the Breeders, of course.
yeah, it was like 95.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, I want to mention that Trio Koko's Bandcamp link will be in the description of this video. I would go there and sample their music and support the band by sampling the music, buying the digital copies. And there's actually 2 parts to the new album, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
What would you say is the reason that you went for a second part? Was it that you just kind of expanded on the style a little bit, or it was kind of just picked up where you left off?
No, it had to do with the pandemic, to be honest. That was when we had time to review stuff, ideas we had on the computer made, and then we started working on it, and then we found out we had too much songs to put on one album, so we decided to split it up and first make part 1, and then recently we released part 2. But there's going to be, there's not going to be a part 3, but there's going to be a vinyl, and it's collecting, it's kind of the best of the both digital releases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is
So,
is T and Go going to be on there?
Yeah.
Well, now definitely, yeah. I have a question because
What's happening?
Oh, the house falling apart. Will is cooking. I'm surprised that you chose Tea and Go as your favorite track. Why is that?
Why is that so correct?
Well, it's not. It's not one of my favorites. I wrote it, but
Well,
I was actually thinking, oh, should I put it on the album? But
I think maybe because the specific chord progression, the and the melody, and it's a pretty technical song compared to the other songs.
oh yeah, you think so?
That's the impression I get, and I'm a guitar player, and it just reminded me going back to the. I mean, I wasn't alive in the '60s, but my uncles were very much into instrumental music,
Yeah.
and they introduced me to that, and they played very similarly to that song.
Oh,
Like,
it's nice to hear.
When they wrote when they wrote that song, their songs, it just the way they put the chords together, it brought me back to that time in my life, and I'm glad you did put it on, because when I heard it, the hair stood up on my arms.
Oh, that's good to hear.
But
well, now you mention it, maybe it's not really a complicated song, but you're right. There are different parts in the song. It's not traditionally intro, verse, chorus, intro. And we found that out ourselves when we were recording it. And Tom kept saying, "Hey, this part is quite different than the other. What chords do you play?" And I didn't know. Because I wrote it very. I had this melody in my head, and that's how the song was written, and not. I didn't work with chords, and then Tom pointed out that, hey, this is weird. What right, Tom? Am I right?
I forgot totally about it, but yeah, could be. That's the way you work. So
yeah, because the way I brought it in, it was there was something about the song. It was strange. It wasn't logical, and well, and then we put all other parts in it, and well, it turned out the way it did, and I'm glad you like it, Ryan.
Yeah, I find when I talk to people, like you guys and myself, I find that, especially throughout life, but I find the tracks that are more interesting, the bands kind of are have the same responses as you do, like, oh, why that song? And that's just how I am.
That's good. They're on the album, so it's yeah. There are more people liking the song, so
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you have plans to start playing out, and are you going to be traveling?
Well, actually, we're working now on releasing the album on vinyl, and when we have it on vinyl, we have also something to kind of sell at shows. So we're still waiting for that for the vinyl to get in, and then we're going to book some shows. That's the idea. Yeah.
Are you putting it out yourself?
Yeah.
Oh,
we also
awesome.
have a record label. Well, we have 2 record labels, and this is going to be on Sheephead Records.
Okay.
Sheephead Records is a record label that mainly focuses on artists from the area we're from, Dordrecht in the Netherlands. It's because the inhabitants are referred to as sheepheads. So but basically it's yeah, we put out stuff from friends from around town.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we don't have and it's it's mostly roots orientated.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the idea.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for being on. I know there was a problem with the schedule that happens from time to time, and you never know. It happens more often than you think. But I want to thank you so much, and my God, I'm so glad I found your music, because you know, now it's another quiver for me, and I'm gonna go back to Tea and Go as soon as I get off of here.
There you go.
Yeah,
No, thanks for having us.
yeah,
yeah.
we're so glad that you found us, and we're so glad being on your show. It's a great honor, all the way from Dordrecht, Holland, to America. That's yeah. So if you have some gigs for us,
Oh yes, yes. I'll put you up at my house.
Start, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, guys. You take care.
You too. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
See you next.